Thank you, Dave. I hope you're all there. It's hard to see anybody in the room. I see some cameras.
There's nobody here normally.
I was thinking about tonight and what makes it such a compelling evening. And I think it is that when I stand up here, it is that I stand before a room that really is filled with heroes. It's filled with ordinary people who have done and who continue to do extraordinary things. Can we turn the lights on for one moment? Would all of the GIST patients in this room who have survived this disease for more than 5 years, please stand up. Anita, please stand up. Don't sit down yet. Keep standing for one more minute. With all of the family and caregivers who have survived this alongside of these patients, stand up with them. And you can take your seats now. I wanted to show you what a room full of heroes really look like. You know, in the military, when somebody does an extraordinary thing, usually something that takes place in a matter of seconds or seconds or minutes, they confer medals on these wonderful people, including the Medal of Honor. When patients manage to survive horrible diseases for year after year after year, and go through all kinds of ordeals, we don't award them medals. But we do so in an honorary way tonight. So as I started to say when I came up here, is I stand before a room of heroes. We have a number of guests who are with us tonight and during the weekend. We've had to make a number of changes in the meeting schedule because of hurricanes. But nonetheless, we've managed to do that and I think get everything nicely put in place. We have some folks here from Novartis. We want to thank you for helping to sponsor our meeting. We have some folks who were unable to join us from Pfizer, helped to sponsor us. And I think we have some folks here from Infinity as well, and I wanted to say a special thanks to them because we had a difference of opinion over issues of placebo, but we agreed to disagree without being disagreeable about it. And the fact that they decided to attend our meeting despite this difference of opinion honors us greatly. We've come a long way. We've come a long way through tragedy and through triumph. And I'd like to tell you, those on my staff have probably heard this before, I'd like to tell you a story, probably two stories. The first is a story of what inspires me and what inspires the Life Raft group. And it's my story. I've told it before, and let me share it with you, particularly those of you who have not heard it before. It was several years ago. We had a Life Raft group member named Mike, who lived in Nova Scotia. And his wife called me up and said that Mike's friends, at his request, were throwing a going-away party for him. And the original plan was to have the party in 3 weeks, but because of Mike's condition, the party was going to be held tomorrow. And she asked whether I could come to the party. Apparently Mike had expressed the wish that I do come. So the next day I'm at LaGuardia Airport, flying through Montreal to Nova Scotia. I was was met at the airport in Nova Scotia by a friend of Mike's, and I'd never been to Nova Scotia before, but they have these wonderful communities that are around coves and that have community centers. And we arrived at this community center about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And there was a party going on. There were about 250 people there. And they were playing my kind of music from the 60s and 70s. And they were having a grand time. And I was brought into the party, and I guess I was the equivalent of the girl popping out of the cake because Mike was surprised that I had showed up. And his friends, I still remember, had brought this huge leather chair from his living room to make him comfortable. And when I went in, Mike was able to almost get up from the chair. He was very weak. And we said hello and we embraced. And I remember sitting there watching during the evening. One of his daughters was sitting at his feet, rubbing his legs that evening. And the party went on, and it was a great party, a lot of liquor. And at the end of the evening, Mike got up, and this is the hard part of the story that I always have difficulty telling. And he asked his wife to dance. And you could not at that point in time hear a pin drop in the room. And everybody in that room knew that this was their last dance. Late that night, I went home with Mike to his home. He had a beautiful home. He had a hospital bed. I remember it was up against a picture window that overlooked both the ocean and the cove. And there was actually a tall ship that was passing by. And we sat up and we spoke for a while. And I then went back to the home of one of his friends, and very early next morning, I was back on a plane heading for LaGuardia Airport. And on the way home, Mike died. And I made up my mind that I never wanted to see a man ask his wife for a last dance. And that, if anybody wants to know about what it is that inspires and that drives, we each have our own stories. But group, that's mine, and that's what drives what we're doing today. And being I've just told you a sad story, I'm going to tell you a happy story as well. The year is 1994. My wife has just been operated on for what later turned out to be GIST, obviously then it was called leiomyosarcoma. And unbeknownst to her, she was given 6 months to live. And 9 surgeries, 2 rounds of chemotherapy, and 1 round of radiation later. We were in the year 2000. Obviously, we had not lived up to the 6 months statistic. And Anita was at the end. She was very weak. And I decided it was the occasion of our 39th wedding anniversary. And I thought that this would be a good opportunity, in fact the last opportunity. So we gathered our family and our friends together to re-exchange our wedding vows. And we also decided, we had a bunch of grandchildren then, to do some catch-up. And we asked our rabbi to come, and we gave all these children Hebrew names that day as well. And Anita was bald, she was emaciated, she was nonetheless quite beautiful. And the next day, we were to report to Columbia Presbyterian and be told that the last round of chemotherapy had failed. There was nothing left. And a few days later, we were to discover that there was a clinical trial for a drug called STI 571. And I had actually gotten a call at my home from an oncologist to tell me that she thought the trial was filled in Boston and Oregon, but maybe there was a slot open in Philadelphia. And I called that night, and Anita was to become patient number 27 out of 30 patient slots in the world. And about a month later, the trial finally started.